You dialed them up. Now I'm answering. This is the Coll Log. This is the Coll Log, guys. Fan questions. And as you can see on the lovely little slide there, we have a great little set here. I think there's like 5 or 6 questions all in total. Guys, if I didn't get to them, I will get to them next week. I had a few extras. If I have time, I will run through some of those that I didn't get to, but I do have a few lined up here. So we have fourth and gold, GOAL apostrophe D. Of the remaining free agents, is there one that you would like the Chargers to sign? It's a 2-part question, so I'm gonna answer it in 2 parts. So I'm not sure if there is a free agent that I think the team should sign. I was looking at the remaining ones, and the top one is Jawan Jennings as the 42nd of the 101. I mean, sure, I guess he could add some depth, but I just think that no. I mean, maybe DJ Reader for the veteran presence, and he's a great run stopper, so on short yardage situations, you know, he's not a pass rusher, so you would quite literally on 3rd and 1. But then I feel like teams would start to kind of start figuring you out a little bit, and they would be like, well, okay, DJ Reader's in. Maybe we can sneak it, you know, like a little quick screen pass or something like that. So definitely pros and cons to having just a run stopper, but maybe DJ Reader would be my only option. Now, the second part of the question is, who would your ideal first round pick be for the Chargers at 22? Now, for my ideal pick, that is a bit tough because the team definitely needs O-line, but I also think we can get that in round 2 and 3. And you don't want to draft another rookie first round offensive lineman. I mean, it's not the worst thing out there, but you would really need like somebody like Vega Ionye, which I don't see him fall into 22, which is really crazy because maybe I'm overthinking this because in my book, I'm thinking like, you know, the Dolphins at 11 could take Vega, the Cowboys at 12, you know, maybe the Lions trade up for a guard / you know, a powerful guard. But like, so like Vega Ionye would come to mind. Another one that would come to mind if he falls that far would be Spencer Fanu, the tackle guard combo that can also play center. That one would kind of be cool, but man, I kind of see maybe the Lions trading up for, you know, either Vega or Spencer Fanu. So those would probably be, but I still think that so if those two aren't available, probably would go just wait till the 2nd, 3rd round for offensive line. I'd be really happy with a defensive tackle like Peter Woods. I know I was just talking about DJ Reader, but if I'm drafting a defensive lineman, I think Peter Woods would come in and just clog up some lanes, and I think he could step in and be impactful, you know, have an impact on the Chargers team right away. So really good question there. Also, another candidate would be linebacker CJ Allen. I feel like he's getting overlooked a little bit. You know, everybody's talking about Sonny Styles for good reason, but I just think that some people are, you know, they're kind of sleeping on CJ Allen, and I think that would be a solid pick. You know, help shore up that front 7 for the Chargers. So great question from our friends across the pond. They were actually on a show before I took the break, but they are fourth and gold. Great guys. Go check them out. That was their question. A sports testimony over on Instagram. He also has TikTok. He probably has YouTube and Facebook and all that. But from Instagram, he sends in the question of best basketball team to enter March Madness. And no, don't worry, I'm not gonna say the Arizona Wildcats. I can't because they got dominated. So they got their butts whooped in the Final Four against Michigan. But this is a really good one because this is before my time. But this is before my time. The 1971-72 Bruins, who finished 30-0 and beat their opponents by an average of 30.3 points. That's obviously one that comes to mind. If you know basketball, if you know stats and history and stuff like that. I mean, that, you know, and if you are, you know, from that era, that probably only team to win every game by double digits in a season. So, you know, that's pretty dominating if you ask me. Another great one is the 1995-96 Kentucky team led by Rick Pitino and was known as the Untouchables, who went 34-2 and won their tournament games by an average of 21.5 points. That's pretty dominating. So that's another great one right there that comes to mind. Now, I will give you a more recent one, though, and let you decide where they should be ranked. And that's the 2023-24 Yukon Huskies, finishing with a 37-3 record and winning their 6 tournament games by a record-breaking 140 points. That's 23.3 points per game. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Sports testimony, great question, my man. Thank you for asking. Thank you for testing me and making me really step outside my comfort zone and answer a basketball question. To those that are new to the show, I used to only talk football, college and NFL, fantasy football, the whole 9 yards there. But I'm starting to branch out a little bit. I'm trying to cover a little hockey. I'm trying to talk a little basketball. I'm trying to get back into baseball, guys. So Answer the Call is trying to broaden the horizon and broaden the content for you guys. And great question, making me answer a basketball question that made me really think about this and do my homework. So guys, we still have time. You can get your questions, send them in the comment section, and if I have time at the end of the show, I will answer them. We still have time, guys, so keep them coming. Real quick, like I said, if you're enjoying the show, please like, subscribe to the channel, comment what your favorite segment or take has been today. If you're on Facebook, X, simply follow, share with everybody, and I will continue to answer the call. So thank you guys for making the show what it is today. I could not do this without you guys. My good buddy, John from the Pitch Grid Pod, and I'm going to make sure I say it right this time. Pitch Grid Pod. I'm not going to struggle like I did a few weeks back. So what's your favorite quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio of all time? If I'm allowed to use tight ends, I'm obviously going to say Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Antonio Gates. If I'm only allowed to keep it as a receiver, then Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, and Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. So honorable mention, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. I know there's so many great ones I left off, but he did say favorite. So I want to hear your guys's. What is your favorite quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio? Is it someone from the 49ers like Montana Rice and that company? Or is it somebody else? Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and that other fella. Michael Irvin. I know. I was only teasing, guys. I was only teasing. I remember who it was. It was, but who is your favorite trio? I gave you mine and I gave you an alternate. So I would love to hear your guys's. I keep the questions coming though, guys. We still have a little bit of time here. The 3 Guys, 6 Balls podcast. 3 Guys, 6 Balls. Joel, Will, and Avery. They want to know, what's your early Super Bowl prediction? I don't normally do early Super Bowl predictions. Like I don't normally do one until after the draft, and that's okay. They brought it to me a little bit ahead of the draft. I'll go ahead and answer it, but I'll probably, might change mine after the draft. But as of April 6th, 2026, my Super Bowl favorite is, well, I think based on the moves we've seen to acquire veteran talent and giving up late first round picks, I'm going to say Rams versus Broncos. Now, I will say, I am very confident a team from the AFC West will be in, even if it's not the Broncos. Yes, I'm saying it. The Chiefs can make it. The Chargers can make it. And maybe, just maybe, the Raiders can make it. Okay, I can't say that. But I am confident a AFC West and an AFC West team will. So, good question there. But I think it's going to be Rams versus Broncos. Rams versus Broncos. A sleeper could also be the 49ers with the offensive firepower they added. Mike Evans, Christian Kirk. They go get 1 or 2 pieces in the draft, and who knows what they can do. So great question there from 3 Guys, 6 Balls podcast. And moving right along, we have just a couple more questions, and so I may go ahead and try to go ahead and answer a few more before the end of the show, guys. So we have time. You have time to get your questions in. If you want them answered and you want to shout out here live on the show, then please submit them. Okay, so we have the High Society Fantasy. I'm gonna tell you right now. Now, this is about to get spicy because High Society Fantasy wants to know some quarterback rankings. Oh, you guys in these quarterback rankings, killing me here. Now, I love it. I love it. I really do. I love it. So keep them coming. Now, just for clarity purposes, I want to. He says, "How would you rank these quarterbacks? The quarterbacks that he mentioned. These are the quarterbacks that he presented. So I didn't leave anybody off, to cause controversy. This is simply the names that he presented to me, and I have to rank them. He gave me Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, John Elway, Dan Marino. Yeah. So this is quarterback. And when I think quarterback play, not team awards. So with that said, we're going to start at 5 and work our way to 1 to build a little suspense here, guys. Real quick, who do you think is my number 5 quarterback? John Elway. Putting John Elway at number 5. Not taking anything away from the man. Great quarterback. He had a great career. But I just, on this list, I have him at 5. At number 4, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is my 4th ranked quarterback on this list. He's great. He is really great. But right now, as it stands, I want to see him in the further years of his NFL career. But as it stands on this particular list, he's 4th. So number 3 is Peyton Manning. I mean, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Real mastermind, knew the game, knew how to manipulate defenses. His famous Omaha, which we later learned was just flip the play one side or the other. And he said Omaha like 43 times in one game, I think it was. So that's a lot of Omahas. Omaha. But Omaha Peyton Manning is number 3. And I'm sticking to that. I'm not audible and out of it. You can't make me audible out of it. So that is number 3. Number 2 is Dan Marino, arguably the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. So Dan Marino is number 2. I think he had a great career. He really set the bar for what a quarterback should do, how a quarterback should play. Stat-wise, right up there with the best of them. And my number 1 is Drew Brees. He overcame so much. Height, a team that gave up on him, my team gave up on him. I remember in 2001 when LaDainian Tomlinson was the 5th overall pick and Drew Brees was the 2nd round pick for the then San Diego Chargers. And that's when I became a fan, of course. But I just remember, then in 2004, they draft Phillip Rivers. And then, of course, shortly after that, he gets hurt. And at the time, I understand. At the time, it was a career-ending injury. So this happened, and he gets hurt, and the Chargers don't want him. They don't bring him back. And he goes and becomes a legend in New Orleans with Sean Payton. Greatest short quarterback ever to play the game. One of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. He's one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks to this day. Watching what he could do. He had enough arm strength to get it down the field, but he really beat you with his precision accuracy. Multiple 5,000 yard seasons. I think, like 4 or 5 seasons of 5,000 yards, and if it wasn't for Brady playing for as long as he did, the fact that Brady was able to play for as long as he did, we would still see Drew Brees hold those records today, I feel like. So, got to be Drew Brees as my number 1 quarterback. Thank you, High Society Fantasy, for that awesome question. And we have a few more. If you guys want to get them in, let me know, guys. Let me know. We have High Society Fantasy on another one. He commented, I did the post on Friday. That's when So Fridays is the day you want to really submit the questions because those are the top priority. Whoever answers on the social medias on Friday, that is when I start based off of the order I see them. So if you're first on the first day, you're getting jotted down first. If you're on the second day, you'll get jotted down. This weekend, with it being Easter, I didn't do an Easter post, but I give plenty of opportunity to submit the questions because I want to answer all these questions. I love answering these questions. They're fun. It's a fun little segment. So on Fridays, be on the lookout. Answer the call on all the social medias. Get your questions in. Submit them. I will answer them here live. I will shout you out, and I will answer them. And so we're going to go back to High Society Fantasy. He commented on the day 2. Breaking news in college basketball. UNC to hire Mike Malone, former Nuggets head coach and 2023 NBA champ, to take over iconic men's basketball program. Breaking news right here at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, April the 6th. Breaking news in college basketball. Mike Malone is the new Tar Heels head coach. So, High Society Fantasy commented day 2. Who finishes the year with more rushes and rushing touchdowns? DeAndre Swift or Kyle Managa? I gotta say Kyle Managa, because he looks like he's that running back. He's obviously the bruiser, so right there, goal line situation, I think instantly he's gonna be in year 2 in Ben Johnson's system. He knows the system. I think we're gonna see kind of a DeAndre Swift is gonna be used more like for passing downs and change of pace. I think it's going to be Kyle's job, though. I think he's going to have more rushing yards and more rushing touchdowns. High Society Fantasy over on Instagram. Thank you. I appreciate the question, my man. I thought I was going to get it next week, but we had a little bit of time, so we're going to go ahead and answer it today. And the Pitch Grid Pod. John, my man, coming in clutch on day 2 of the post. Who goes from first to worst and worst to first this NFL season? Okay, so worst to first. I mean, one that comes to mind, Tennessee Titans. I mean, we've been talking about them all offseason. They could be this year's New England Patriots, a team that went from first to last. And it's crazy to think, but the Seattle Seahawks, I know that they just won the championship, but they also lost a lot of key players. They have the 32nd pick in the draft. They only have four picks in this year's draft. You lost your offensive coordinator. That right there is key. You lost your offensive coordinator. You lost Clint Kubiak to the Raiders. You lost some other personnel. You can't tell me that part of Sam Darnold's success wasn't because of Clint Kubiak. We all know who Sam Darnold is. We know who he is, okay? He is who we think he is, all right? And I just think that he isn't going to be as productive. They lost Kim Walker, and so they lost some of their defensive pieces, and I'm just not sold on it, guys. I'm not sold on the fact that they did enough to come back. So, John, first to last is the Seattle Seahawks. Last to first, the Tennessee Titans. So great question, my man. Great question. And we have one more. We have one more here, guys, and then that's going to wrap up today's show. My better half, my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, my wife, she actually commented on one of my posts and, brought the question. So I wanted to get this one in because it was a really good one, I thought. Not because of who was asking, but because of the question itself. Here lately, I've had a few guests on the show. We just had Dan Scott last week. We've had Marcus Mack from Chicago Sports Radio. Of course, we got Tyler Davis, who worked alongside Trey Biddy at Hog Sports, coming on Thursday. And so we've had John from Pitch Grid Pod. We've had some good guests. We've had, Ralph Williams on the show. As a matter of fact, we're going to run through this real quick. I'm going to tell you the names, and you'll understand why I wanted to answer this particular question, because we've got some really good guests already. And I, I'm so thankful, and I appreciate Brandon kind of taking me under his wing to really help me out and give me advice and give me pointers. So guests that have been on the show: the return show, John, Pitch Grid Pod. The next week, Joel Norris, Pigskin Frenzy. So we had Pitch Grid Pod, Pigskin Frenzy. We had our friend Ben Rodriguez from Inside the Locker Room, NFL Playmakers over on Instagram. We had Ralph Williams. We had Will Ritchie, PA announcer from Hamburg, Arkansas. And I just lost my list because my computer hates me. That's okay, though. That's okay. So we had Will Ritchie. We had Marcus Mack, Chicago Sports. And we had Dan Scott. And like I said, we have Tyler coming on the show on Thursday. So we've had quite a bit of good guests here since we've come back. And so the question is, what would your dream interview collaboration be? Player, coach, broadcaster, etc. I think the broadcaster would have to be Joe Tessitore. Joe Tessitore would have to be like one that I would want to interview, sit down with. He covers SEC football, and to all the wrestling fans out there, he is the voice of Friday nights on SmackDown. I love his energy and the passion he brings. I hope someday people will be saying that about myself. like, oh man, he brings the passion, he brings the energy. So I guess you could say I try to model myself a little bit after him because I want to be known for my passion and my energy for what I'm covering. I hope some, I have to be honest. I have to be honest. Pat McAfee would be the absolute top of my list, though. Absolute top. To sit down with someone of his excitement and electricity would make for a great segment. Let's make it happen, guys. Pat McAfee on Answer the Call. Let's make this happen. Let's make it happen. Player definitely has to be LaDainian Tomlinson, my favorite player all time. Reason I'm a Chargers fan. Reason for some of the heartache that I've had in my life, but all in all seriousness, LaDainian Tomlinson, he was a great player, and he never really celebrated. He just kind of flipped the ball, like, here, I scored, whatever. It wasn't about me. It was about my team. I love that mentality. I will say, Phillip Rivers, an interview with Phillip Rivers would be fun. Just to gag nabbits and, and just all the alternate cuss words that he said, all the all alternates that he uses for cuss words. I think that would be a lot of fun. Fan side coming out here, but as far as coach, I think it would be a great experience to interview Jim Harbaugh. I mean, just listening to him in the press conferences is amazing, and just hearing his knowledge of the game. So bonus one, I would love to interview or do a collaboration with Colin Cowherd at the Herd. He is actually how I came up with the name of my show. His is the Herd. I wanted to implement my name in the show like he did, but couldn't figure out how. I was almost sold on the call when my phone rang and it clicked. Answer the Call would be the name. So Joe Tessitore, Pat McAfee, LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, and Colin Cowherd would definitely be up there. Guys, if there's any that you want me to collab with, a guest to bring on the show, let me know. I'll reach out to him. I'll try to make it happen. But we definitely need to make Pat McAfee, Joe Tessitore happen here at Answer the Call. So, well, I don't see any more questions.